From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training Podcast. I am the only host because everybody's crazy busy with spring things, but we have returning guest. I've heard rumors that he likes to have fun with cars. That means Heyward Wagner's back. Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Happy to be here. Very happy to be here. How are you, sir?
We're doing okay. We're struggling through pollen season up here, but it's okay.
I don't know what it's like. You know, I hate the you can't be suffering because I'm suffering more approach to life. But the Southeast is no joke at the moment.
Oh, I know. It's all of our cars are a shade of green and yellow right now. Yeah, same. It's awesome. The only thing better is that as I got older, my allergies did not hit during finals of college, so that was slightly better. But yeah, life goes on.
Indeed.
Sir, you recently finished what I've tried to do the past 2 years and failed miserably. You took one of your new style racing cars for the SCCA, took it across the country, or a good chunk of the country, in the one lap of America. I believe
we did, and we lived to tell the tale.
It did. So first time one lapper. I believe you were called a puppy.
What was a lap puppy? Yes.
What was your lap puppy experience like?
It was fascinating. It was exhilarating. It was exhausting. I think I probably learned more in 8 days than I've probably learned certainly in any other 8-day period, and often in much longer periods. It was I don't know if it's a once in a lifetime experience, but it was an opportunity that came to us through Tire Rack to help promote the Club Spec concept with the Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
And Goodyear was able to get on board with us and put together a package that we could take advantage of. And it was all of the things. And that was the whole point. The whole point was to take a car. You know, the whole point with Club Spec is build one car and do all the things. Mm-hmm. And we, my co-driver, Eric Siekowitz, who did not even know that this was an opportunity for him until 10 days before the event. He has made me swear not to tell anybody that he missed his son's 6th birthday and his 12th wedding anniversary to go on one lap. He and I jumped in the blue Mustang and gave it a go. And it was pretty awesome. It was a lot of fun.
So you said you learned stuff. What did you learn?
Well, I think one of the biggest learnings was just kind of a professional, selfish standpoint. I got to drive 6 tracks I'd never driven before. I got to see 6 tracks I'd never seen before. I got to talk to track managers while we were there. The one lap paddock is a bit of a who's who. And so there was a chance to really kind of talk to some really high level SCC autocrossers, and not in a 15 minutes, I got to go do a thing kind of way, but you're kind of a captive audience there for a couple hours each day and able to talk about all that. So that was all really very informative, very cool, a lot of learning. And then, anytime that you have the opportunity to be in the presence of an event that has happened a significant number of times. I got to go up to Weatherly, Pennsylvania last fall and run a hill climb there that started in the 60s. Mm-hmm. I learned a tremendous amount in a very short period of time because of just being able to see what evolution has brought to a program, brought to an event. And this was the 40th running of One Lap of America, and all 40 I believe, I'm sure we would know if it was otherwise, but I'm pretty sure Brock Yates Jr. has been at the helm for all 40 of those.
Mm-hmm.
And with that comes just this incredible level of confidence and comfort in execution of the event. It's a paddock that knows how the event works, understands how the event works. Brock was very clear with us in the drivers' meeting that we run the event. He organizes it, but we run it. And kind of that collective ownership, that all for one mentality. It was just a really, really great opportunity to be able to kind of sit back and see how that event functions and how something that has, for all of the immaturity that motorsports often has around it, just the silliness of the stickers and the traditions and whatnot. The overall maturity of that paddock to be able to function in that event effectively is really impressive.
So, last time you were on, I think it was the last time. I don't know. I know one of the times you were on, we talked about the car that does everything. You were in one of those everything cars. How much everything did you get to experience in the car?
A lot of everything. The car was a 2005 S197 Mustang. It's the 4.6 liter, which is the car for Club Spec Mustang. And we were on a set of Goodyear F1 Supercar 3 tires. And we did, like I said, we're at 6 tracks. We did all but one of our track sessions. One got tornadoed out. We had 4 tornado watches in one morning across the course of the week.
Well, people huddled in Love's parking lots and
yeah,
stuff.
It was pretty funny. We Brock had advised us that if you see a storm, don't stop. Find a good direction and then drive in it. We were a little low on gas, and so we decided that as we were heading kind of towards a storm, that we should probably fuel up, because running out of gas while trying to outrun a storm didn't seem like a great scenario.
No.
And when we got off the interstate, we found about half the event parked under the gas station cover, and most everybody was coming out of the restroom having been in the tornado shelter, which apparently was just the hit of the year for the Love staff, to have a whole bunch of race cars parked out front and race car drivers in the men's room. But yeah, we 6 tracks, 11 sessions, an autocross, 2 skid pads, and probably as impressively, maybe more impressively, when it was all said and done, about 4,200 miles of road driving,
right?
Which was pretty fantastic. We drove in standing water, and we weren't doing 80 miles an hour in standing water, but we were rolling right with everybody else in traffic. We had long runs on some of the, shall we say, not well known for their road quality interstates of the United States, and really no issues. I think probably if I had to form a complaint against the car at all, about 2/3 of the way through the trip, we both decided that we liked the Momo containment seat better than the factory passenger seat in the car.
Yeah.
But of course, in the Club Spec model, you can change both seats. We decided to just change the one. But yeah, it was a really, really great experience. Really great with the car.
There's something to be said for having the ability to recline, and the Momo containment seat does not recline. So
neither does the factory seat against a roll bar, though. So
the roll bar, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a pretty basic build. It's basically the Shelby GT suspension kit with Kona yellows and some Eibach bars, and it was great on track. It was great on the autocross course. And it really was great on transit. I was probably the most nervous about it on transit, and it just ate up asphalt. It was really fun.
The wide variety of cars that entered the one lap are quite impressive. I think you guys kind of middled it in terms of.
We were dead middle. We really wanted to be top half, and we missed it by a half a position. Statistically speaking, we were 39 of 77. Yeah, and it's interesting because it feels like the event kind of has these 3 populations. You got a population that's competing for a desired finishing position, at the top of the field, and most of them have seen the tracks before. They've practiced there. They understand
Right.
them. They've done the tour. And then you've got the kind of back third of the field that are just happy to be there and aren't really trying to put a lap time in. And then you've got the poor suckers in the middle that are beating feet trying to get to the track every morning to get some course walks in because they've never seen the course, but they're trying to put a time in anyway. And we lived in that space. We lived in that midfield space, which was it's a little disheartening to watch the fast guys leave and you haven't even run yet from each track because you know that they're going to get more sleep, more rest, more food. But the middle was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
I think the cars that were the tippy point of the spear were quite impressive this year. And if a car driven by Tomo comes in third, that there were some serious people and serious hardware driving.
Yeah, I think Dave Ogburn, Dave and Nick won it, and I think Dave Ogburn might be one of the most underrated track drivers in the United States. He's been a threat to the Spec Racer Ford National Championship for a number of years. The SCCA runoffs, he's got some solo national championships to his credit, and his day job is a tire engineer for Goodyear. So the comfort level with the tire is real high, and he's just one of those guys that you can just when he's on, and he was on all week long.
Yeah,
and Tomo definitely drove. I think he drove incredibly well. They really gambled on it being wet. They went with a wet tire and needed it to be wet more of the week to threaten the top. But in classic Tom fashion, he was pretty stoked to podium.
Yeah, I think they went with the 300s, and a lot of the cars went with the 200s. So it's part of fun of trying to compete on 4 tires the entire way.
Yeah, and honestly, I think we could have done another entire one lap on the tires that we were on. We didn't even really hurt them that bad. So even at a 220, I was really impressed with it. We did well with ours.
Awesome. So do you truly have a car that does it all?
Yeah, it's pretty great. I'm pretty smitten with it. Eric built a great car for us. What better way to prove all the things? And I think beyond that, I think probably the 2 biggest wins for us for the week was one, in a field of a lot of high dollar cars, a lot of high performance cars. I think we were able to prove this car was fast. And I think that one of the things that people have kind of rubbed against on spec anything is that typically when you do spec at a lower performance level because you get the excitement of the closeness of competition.
Right.
And so it's more affordable to do spec Miata than to do spec Ferrari. Not that doesn't exist, but that's neither here nor there. And so you make it affordable, you make it so lots of people do it, you get really great racing. That doesn't work as well in an autocross and time trial space. The excitement generally does come from having some power. And so kind of showcasing that this car can put in some pretty stout lap times and make all the V8 noises and all that stuff was really cool. The other thing that was surprising and interesting was the number of people in the event who seemed genuinely interested in the car. People who were driving cars that were $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 cars that had pretty significant appetites when it came to tires and fuel and consumables. Kind of looking over at us going, how much tire you got left? Still on your first set of brake pads? You're putting 87 octane in the tank? That's really important because if you have a concept that does all the things, but it does them at a high consumption rate, that's not really a great product either.
I would be curious if we added one more column to the spreadsheet for the results and put in a points per dollar.
Yeah.
And it might be close.
I don't know that there was anything ahead of us that was a lesser spend. I think talking to Eric, it sounds like that was about a $15,000 purchase and build.
Right.
And then on top of that, we threw a roll bar, a race seat, and and as the kids say, sent it.
Mm-hmm. And the kids are right. It worked.
It was great.
It was.
So,
It was. So I'm gonna get out there. I've 0 for 2. I've got to go for 3 soon, but we'll get there.
so are you 0 for 2 on finishing it or 0 for 2 on starting it?
Starting it. We had last year. The state of Pennsylvania was less than enthused about registering a caged car, and this year had some difficulty getting the entire team together. So did not want to take the chance on not filling one of the spots. So with a month to go, I pulled the plug and said, roll it into next year. So, we'll get there.
I will say that, and I realize how privileged this probably sounds. If I had to complain about one thing about our one lap experience, is that it was maybe a little bit too easy. There were several teams that were really working hard for it. Whether that was constantly changing to the car. There were a couple of guys in is it a Fields?
The Scott Robertson. Yeah. And
Yep.
Eric. Yeah.
And Eric. Yeah. Those guys, every time they started the car, step 1 was pull the hood pins. Step 2 was lift the hood off the car. Step 3, I think, was engage the ignition. Step 4 was connect 2 wires under the hood. And our big story was that rolling into Colorado, we didn't realize that we're pretty sure we didn't get the fuel tank all the way full at the last stop. And we didn't realize that we'd roll 80 miles without seeing fuel. And so we got to hypermile the last hour and a half, hour into the hotel at about 1,500 RPMs and 39 miles an hour through a wind farm. Yeah. And there's no, and we really felt like Green Energy was trying to send us a signal there as we rolled through on fumes through a wind farm. But that was really our only drama.
Well, hopefully you were going downhill and not uphill, because there's some pretty big hills there.
Occasionally, yeah.
So, yeah, I think Scott and Eric had some trouble with the car, little teething pains, but they eventually got it figured out, and it came on fire towards the end. So,
and we were with them on track a lot. They were great to run with.
Good bunch of guys. So speaking of spec racing, just an update. I'm not sure that we talked since then, but Miss Vicky has passed her SCCA novice license exam.
Fantastic.
So we are now committed to, both of us are going to try to get through all the required events with the SCCA this summer. And, family requirements permitting, we will be fully licensed and rocking and rolling.
That'll be awesome.
Having some fun with cars.
Amen. How has the experience been so far?
She went to an event where it was a Friday only, and then Saturday and Sunday were 2 different other organizations. So I was under the impression she was going to stay for the weekend and get like a couple of races done, but that wasn't an opportunity. So we just have to go back again. It's okay.
It's all good.
It's all good. Speaking of having to go back to the track again, sir, there's been this
Captain's log supplemental.
Hey Jeremy, you know those race cars you're busy building?
Yeah, I do. I got one that I'm looking at every day.
You know what I don't see you working on?
You don't see me working on the amazing Sentinel system yet.
That's true. It would take all of 10 minutes for you to have one.
And it's very quick and easy to install.
It is. It is. And we could watch you when we are not at the race with you and see how you're doing. And then we can call you up when you get out of the car and tell you everything you did wrong.
And I love that, because so many years I've been driving and not been able to see what I'm doing.
I know.
And now we can.
I know. You know what I'd like to do with the video? My most favorite thing is I take the video and I load it on YouTube, and then I send it to my coach and say, look at 26 minutes and 17 seconds. Look at this one lap and tell me what I can do better. And every single time, you know what they say?
Everything.
Exactly. Precisely. So with the Sentinel system, you get instantaneous feedback plus useful feedback that unfortunately is accurate for my driving.
I think it's accurate for all of our driving.
Pretty much, yeah, that's probably true. Yep, but you need to get one in your car, sir.
Yes, I do. And with the discount code that you're going to tell everybody, they can save 10% on this awesome system.
Yep, trouble free. I haven't had an issue getting video every time we've gone out with the Sentinel. It's always worked. Can't say the same for some of the other systems we've tried. So I don't know. It's on the podcast notes down there. Don't do it while you're driving though. We like to have our listeners live. It's good. Speaking of having to go back to the track again, sir, there's been this plan that we've put together.
Yes.
That has entailed you lowering yourself to our level and coming.
Whoa. I'm
and coming to the Garage Heroes in Training and inspiring us with your mastery of all forms of motorsport and motorsport driving. Or something like that.
I think we need to acknowledge that one of my very first motorsports road trips, like on my own, without my family, was to Fort Myers, Florida for a pro solo.
Mm-hmm.
And then 89 or 91 Honda Civic that had a bad head gasket. And so we were stopping every 45 minutes or so with a pair of rubberized kitchen gloves and bleeding the coolant system on the side of the road and putting more coolant in it. And like, there's no lowering here. This is straight back to the roots. If we'd had the opportunity to put that car on a racetrack in 1997, we would have. And so
perhaps not lowering, but perhaps just reminding you what it may be like. You never know.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm fired up about it. Have we figured out what we're driving?
We have. We figured out at our last event that the car was a little bit down on power, and then we did a compression test, and of the cylinders, two of them had compression. So we fixed that, and the head will be put back on. It was
so now none of them have compression.
Well, none, because they're in two different places. The head's still in its transit back to home base, and some of the drivers were having difficulty putting it into third, so we're going to fix that as well. So we will have a fully prepped and tested car for you.
And that car is
a 1993 Honda Civic.
All right. Love it.
So we will be continuing with our Top Gun theme, and you will be attending your first Lemons event with us at the Thompson racetrack.
Yeah. Shelly McKee has been berating me for years about doing this, and I'm pretty excited about it. I've never gone wheel to wheel on a racetrack.
Really?
I did have a brief moment of unintended wheel to wheel on one lap with a point by that went a little bit not as planned, but everything was fine. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm a big believer in the enduro concept, and I'm excited to try it.
So have you been to Thompson already?
I have been to Thompson. I was at Thompson for a time trial national tour. It might have been 20. I feel like I have face covering feeling memories of being.
I was going to say, did you have a mask on?
I think I probably did. I do. I also remember, is it Bogey's? Is that the ice cream place there?
Yep.
Kathy Barnes introduced me to Bogey's while we were there. I absolutely loved being at that track. There are tracks that you can feel the history and the creativity of that track is really interesting with on and off the oval. So I'm really excited about it.
So when you were at Thompson, well, let's put it this way. When you're at Thompson with us, you'll be there with approximately 120 other cars.
I think we had slightly less on track at a time.
Perhaps a bit less. Yeah.
Perhaps a bit less.
Perhaps. But so theming wise, just to whet your appetite, the Lemons tradition of theming. So we have adopted for this season a Top Gun theme that we are lovingly calling Over the Top Gun. So
love it.
You can take that and wander as you wish, and anything you think of, we say yes.
Well, I mean, I've really worked on my overall goose persona.
Oh, very nice. Very
So
nice.
I'm assuming that one's probably taken though. So I'll
No, I have a helmet for you and everything. Well, it
love it.
probably won't be your driving helmet, but you can walk around the paddock. It has all the stickers that you need.
It's generally a good practice to put me in a helmet for walking around the paddock. That's when
Okay.
I'm most likely to be a hazard to myself and others. So
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
ideal. So
All right. So I believe we will have someone else from your family coming as well. Is that still the plan?
yeah, I'm bringing my bonus kid. He's 15 and he is uh, handy with a wrench and pretty good. He's gotten really involved with our hill climb program,
Mm-hmm.
helping out with start and other event functions, and so pretty handy in an event, pretty good with the wrench. And worst case scenario, he can help me cook.
He can assist with pit stops if he is so inclined. Just
Love it.
bring some stuff, whatever. We want to give everybody all the bite of the apple that we can.
You're going to create a monster.
That's okay. It's your monster. I've got my own monsters. So let's think. What is Heyward Wagner's questions about lemons going into this event? What can we relax you a little bit with?
I got to go back a little bit to the one lap story to put this in context. We showed up in South Bend, Indiana at about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. Sticker.
Friday is tech and yeah, we're a day before that.
Oh, that's the day before. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And we sat down in the hotel bar and ordered a couple of cheeseburgers, and Andy Hollis walked in a few minutes later and sat down with us. And I said, so how does the on track part of one lap work? And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, and he started like explaining like the strategy and what you need. And I was like, no, like, how is it scored? How many laps do you get? Like, what is it? And I kind of have the same attitude towards this, where I'm just going to show up. And if you tell me to put on a suit, I'm going to put on a suit. And if you tell me to put on a helmet, I'll put on a helmet. And, we have radio communication, right?
We do.
Yeah. You just tell me when to come in and I'll come in and we'll figure it out.
We're even fancier. If the car is working properly, you will have a clock and you will know when to come in on your clock. And we'll talk to you before that.
Is it digital or analog?
Digital. Don't even have to make any calculations in your head or nothing.
Love it. No, I'm super excited about it. This is kind of a just to tie everything together. This is my 10th year on national staff with SCCA. I had my 10th anniversary in April 1st of all days.
Nice.
And one of the things that I'm really trying to do this year is see how some other programs run, how other things work. And that was a lot of the one lap adventure, was seeing a bunch of tracks and seeing how a program worked. And you guys were kind enough to invite me to come play the Lemons game with you. And it's another learning experience, another great opportunity to see how other orgs do things. And just keep rocking.
So you want to keep it a secret? You just want to go in blind? Nothing we can help you with?
I'm not worried about it at all.
All right, very good. Anything that you're looking forward to that you may have heard about?
I'm looking forward to soaking up the culture, probably more than anything.
There's plenty to soak in, sir.
Yeah. I did watch the there's a documentary on, I think, Amazon.
Oh, Hoopties.
Hoopties. Yeah, I watched Hoopties a while back, and so that gave me some ideas. And I have some friends who've done. I've actually had some friends that were partially responsible for the banning of the exoskeleton cars way back when.
Yeah.
So I've heard a bit about it. I've been around it a bit. But yeah, I am excited to be a wide-eyed kid who's excited to be there, much more than I'm interested in developing a strategy or plan or figuring it out. We're gonna wing it.
We are. We have so far had no success in getting a garage, but we will still strive for that. Otherwise, August in Connecticut can be dicey with weather. Hopefully the car doesn't break, because then you're in the mud, but that's okay.
Yeah. There'll be ice cream. We'll be okay.
There's ice cream. We hope to have time to go get ice cream. That would be great. Plan on it being hot. Plan on it being humid. If it's not, call it a win. I can't give it away, sir. it's something to see. We'll go with that.
I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
So what else is on your
Well, I was
motorsports
wondering,
resume?
you always
Okay.
have SCCA stuff brewing. Some of it you can talk about, some of it you can't. Anything?
Yeah, there's a lot of can't talk about it at the moment.
I know that's why it's no fun sometimes.
Yeah, well, it's that time of year. We have just kind of hit our rhythm with our series and everything up and running, and we haven't gotten to the point where the championship seasons have become all consuming. So we're starting to look around a little bit and go, "Ooh, wonder if we could do that. Oh, what if we could do that?" So like this is the optimism season.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the biggies that we're looking forward to, we got a Time Trials National Tour this weekend at NCM, and then we go to Pocono. I think Pocono is mid-June.
40 minutes away, sir.
Yeah, you're going to be there, right?
Apparently I am.
Yeah, yeah. We're really looking forward to getting to Pocono because you've got some multiple configurations options there. It's a very, again, one of these kind of creative, interesting tracks.
It is.
And then we go to NCM, back to NCM in end of October for Time Trials Nationals this year. And Time Trials Nationals happening in the same span of time as Halloween stores being open. Feels like it's going to be an interesting mix. The runoffs goes back to Road America this year.
Okay.
And that if you've never been to Road America, have you been to Road America?
I have not.
Road America is maybe as an observer of an event, there might not be a better track in the United States than Road America. The tagline is a national park of speed, I think is what they call it, but it is just such a fantastic venue to watch race cars and eat. Eating is very important at Road America. Yes. Lots of cheese and sausage based things.
I was going brats and cheese all day long.
Yeah, a lot of brats and cheese. And then there's a beverage they serve there. It comes
I've
in
never
a can.
heard of it when the track is hot. I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it. And then obviously I'm wandering here. Solo Nationals
podcast is, sir.
Yep. Solo Nationals will have 12 to 1,300 drivers in Nebraska for a week. And I firmly believe that if you are a motorsports person, particularly if you're an SCCA member, once in your journey, you should go to the runoffs. You should see the best wheel-to-wheel road racing we have to offer. And at least once in your journey, you should go compete at Solo Nationals. Like those are
thinking about that.
Those are the meccas. You would have a blast. I intend to soak up a very unique and interesting culture when we go Lemons racing.
It is.
I would contend that there is an equally unique and interesting culture when the sun goes down in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you have 1,300 autocrossers that don't have anything to do until 8 o'clock the next morning.
Yeah, especially when one of our friends is there in his Nyan Cat Crown Vic. So yeah.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Yes. A very interesting friend at that. This is an interesting segue. We recently put out a little survey asking people what they think about autocross and SCC autocross and preferences and whatnot. And one of the questions on it is, what type of classing are you most interested in? And the options were run what you brung, which is kind of your go nuts classes, do whatever you want. One of the options was spec, which is obviously what we're doing with the Club Spec classes, the Mustang and the MX-5. One was limited prep, which is kind of where SCCA autocross has always lived, with our street class, stock class, street prepared, street touring. You know, you can choose your car, you can choose your prep, but everything kind of has a cap on it. And we threw into the questions just for fun classing, without a whole lot of consideration. And we've gotten more people asking, is that about Meme Street? Are you going to make Meme Street a national class? What's going on with Meme Street? And again, I got to give Shelly a shout out, because as cool as Meme Street is, it's really about cookie class. Cookie class is way cooler than Meme Street.
Well, I mean, the car you're driving had a cookie on its roof for 2 races, and
perfect.
Cookies on its side, many races. A 50-pound cookie on top of a 93 Civic does not improve handling.
does not. And for those that have not been exposed to cookie class, this was a South Carolina region invention where you could run whatever car you wanted in the class, but whoever won had to bring everybody cookies at the next event.
Mm-hmm.
So we were big into that idea. But yeah, if you have not found the SCCA autocross survey, just check on scca.com. It'll pop up, and you can tell us what you think about autocross.
That'd be fun. So one of the questions that we have that hasn't been answered yet, because we're still postulating and formulating, but it's kind of your semi job. It's part of your job. It's within there somewhere. The Venn diagram has it in there somewhere. What would for you be the perfect racing series in terms of distance, classing, track style, duration, limits, no limits? So, and this is non-SCCA. You're not Heyward Wagner, SCCA guy.
You're asking as a driver, or are you asking me as what do I think the perfect way to present and consume motorsports is?
As Heyward
Wagner.
Non-SCCA affiliation answer. What do you think is either the most fun or would do the most for motorsports?
Well, I mean, I've never gone wheel to wheel before,
mm-hmm.
So I'm making some really big guesses here. I have the most fun right now with hill climb.
Okay.
And I have the most fun with hill climb right now because doing motorsports in a non-motorsports environment,
mm-hmm.
in small towns where everybody there is so excited that you're there,
mm-hmm.
And then running in a place that is beautiful,
mm-hmm.
running in a place that is community driven, and hill climb has an inherent, if you made it, you won element to it. It's very, very easy to stay in your own performance space and not get caught up in all that. So hill climb is my right answer right now.
Okay.
What's engaging to me about endurance
mm-hmm.
Is I've never done motorsports where there was any consideration other than absolute right now immediate pure pace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, autocross, it is there is no conserving the car, there is no taking care of the tires, there is no long run strategy, there's none of that in time trials, there's none of that in hill climb.
There's a limited team aspect too.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see how it feels to strap into a car. And I guess this is a question that I could have asked and didn't, but have some level of team order, team expectation of this is what we need you to do during
mm-hmm.
this time and trying to do it. And I think that to me feels just, I love a good road trip.
mm-hmm.
I love we're going to try to, get here at this time, tag it out. So that's super engaging to me. But if I hit the lottery and I could just do whatever I wanted to do, I grew up SCCA road races, and my dad had a Formula V, and I think Formula V racing, 1200cc Volkswagen engines,
mm-hmm.
H pattern gearboxes. They just got disc brakes 2 years ago. But watching a pack of Vs, because there's room there for creativity,
sure.
There's room there for ingenuity. It is a driver skill class. It is a strategy class. It is a drafting class. And having done pit lane reporting for the runoffs for the last 10 years, standing on the front straight, watching that 6-7 car train
mm-hmm.
for the lead of the V race, man, that just looks like about as much fun as you can have.
mm-hmm.
And I'd love to drive faster stuff just to see what it feels like. But I think that Formula V racing, and obviously a lot of those characteristics carry over to Spec Racer Ford and Spec Miata and
right.
other things that have come along since. But all those things are pretty rad.
Mm-hmm. You know what you could do? You, you,
24-hour V race.
no, well, you got me. You got me thinking with your earlier part of the answer when you were still staying with hill climb. You could have like a 7 Hills of America or 10 Hills of America event.
That the nice thing about a racetrack, the really nice thing about a racetrack is it is fully set up when you arrive. Everything is built. The bathrooms are there.
I didn't say it was fun, and I didn't say it was cheap.
Pretty great. So,
but the hill's there. So that's most of what you need.
That's most of it. Yeah, that's most of it. So, I also think, Tom. I was listening to Tom and DJ on Lizard Brain while we were on one lap, and Tom said that his favorite form of motorsports is autocross.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I'm probably pretty close to that opinion as well, just because of the rapidness of it. I really enjoy the downtime between runs to kind of process through it. And so I think I don't know. A lot of what I'm trying to do this year personally is explore these spaces. Run some hills I've never run before. Run a lemons race, which I've never done before. Do one lap, which I've never done before. And part of that is I really love this stuff, and I want to get back into the habit of consuming some of it. And a part of it is that, if you want to be a really great restaurant, you should probably eat in other people's restaurants from time to time and see what they're doing. And there's a lot of value in those, in that. And then I guess the third part, just, in the interest of, we're supposed to be rambling on a podcast. Is that the goal here?
That is the goal, sir.
I really haven't spent very much time in the last 20 years at events that I didn't have a fairly significant role in the management of. And it's really hard to really enjoy the driving part of it when you're carrying significant event responsibilities. I think Adam and I had a conversation about that on a podcast that inspired you to invite me into a lemon seat. And I really enjoyed, even though at one lap I was trying to create content and editing videos on my knees on the laptop heading off the site and all of those things. It was really nice to kind of be able to take a breath and look around and just enjoy motorsport.
Indeed. And so one of the things, Adam was supposed to have some schedule time, but his schedule is never any time. But
he's in the throes of it, man.
He is. He's got a beast that keeps on growing. So
yep,
that's
good
okay.
for him.
How about some SCCA Grid Life crossover event? How can we do that?
It has been talked about many a time. We talked about doing some GLTC racing with some Time Trials National Tour weekends. We talked about doing, obviously through the North American Time Attack Association, we have worked on getting some more synergy there. But the real problem with trying to do, the real problem is that their events are so full that there's not a lot of extra time in us for us.
Yep.
And our events are full enough that we really couldn't bring a whole lot on. But they've got a great program.
Yeah, we're due to proximity to events, we're a part-time at best Grid Life attendee, and you almost can't register fast enough, and we're not close enough to get the gold pass. So, it's literally winning a lottery ticket. So, we'll get there.
What a problem to have.
I know it's a struggle, but it couldn't happen to a better guy. And
Amen.
The atmosphere there is fantastic. So I think, have you been to one of their festival events?
I went to South when I was at Atlanta a couple of times.
Okay.
And I've swung through a couple other events on my way to other stuff, just basically long enough to say hi to a couple of people and back on the road. I can't give Adam any hard time about his schedule and not being able to show up for anything else because I can never get to his stuff. But I've been trying to get him to a hill climb for a couple of years now, and obviously you're trying to get him into a lemon seat. So
we'll get him. It's not that
he's
hard.
in high demand.
It's
high demand.
So what do you think about having like a festival style SCCA event either once a year or a few times a year?
I told you I couldn't talk about that stuff.
I was trying to hook you without you saying anything. Damn it. Snagged at my own petard.
I think SCCA is in a really interesting evolutionary space right now. We were having more and more success with going to a racetrack and not racing cars, doing time trials and track events. We're having more and more regions that are interested in doing combination events.
Sure.
And I think that lends itself to doing more and more creative and interesting things. I don't know that we're ever going to be in the music space that Grid Life is in. I don't know that we're ever going to really kind of push for that level of party. I'm just going to say it's largely because I'm tired, and that sounds like it's a lot of work, and it happened, cuts into sleep. But I think there's definitely some momentum. We would really like. Well, great example. We've got the Atlanta region over Father's Day weekend is hosting a regional road race and time trial at Atlanta Motorsports Park.
Okay.
To my knowledge, it's the first time that Atlanta Motorsports Park has had the elevated sound limit so that we can get real race cars on the track. And I think it's the first time that SCCA has time trialed there, aside from when it was a stop on the Targa Southland tour back in 16 and 17. So it's a pretty rare opportunity to get some loud cars on that track, to get some time trials cars on that track. And I don't know that necessarily qualifies as a festival, but the goal is to bring, so much of our world gets siloed. You're a racer, so you do race car things. You're autocross, so you do autocross things. And I think that there's a lot of work to be done right now to kind of knock all that down and recognize that we're all just car people that like to do car things. So let's go do car things.
Yeah, I think the aspect that I like is they're bringing in maybe one step removed car people and getting them to the event, and then they realize that they can do it too.
Yep.
And
that's where I think Grid Life is incredibly important in the overall space, because what makes them so good is the amount of control they have over their product. And by that, I mean, they have their key staff people at every event, allows them to be consistent, allows them to serve a really great product. But it's not realistic to expect that to expand out to 1,500 to 2,000 events a year. And where I think Grid Life is so important in this space for SCCA is those people that they get excited about motorsport. They need a place to start. And as you pointed out, unless you get lucky on the registration lottery, that place might not be inside of Grid Life. But SCCA can give them a place to get up and running, whether that be an autocross space, time trial space,
hill
track
climb
event space, hill climb space, wheel-to-wheel racing space. It's on the table.
Do them all.
Do them all.
You may find out you like one that you didn't think you would.
And maybe, and it's just an idea, but there might be a way that you could just build a single car and go do them all.
That would be fantastic.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be fantastic. I think you'd need something, small and light, and maybe something a little larger for the more luxury
like a couple
mammals.
options.
Luxury mammals, maybe.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I wanted when I first started. First started, it was, I didn't understand why I couldn't have a car that I could run anywhere, because all I wanted to do was drive and race. So I thought, I'll just build this one car, and it'll be an SCCA this, and it'll be a NASA that, and it'll be a Porsche Club this, and a BMW that, and I can autocross it. And everybody kept looking at me like I was this crazy person, and I'm like, but that's what I want to do. I'm a car guy in that it lets me have fun with it. I'm not the builder guy.
Yeah. I don't know what you know about small town churches, but the church that's built across the street from the first church is sometimes a little different from the first church. And I think that's what's happened in a lot of motorsports is people have not liked particularly how an org has done a thing and has decided to start their own. And when you are born out of, I don't want to be those guys, you're not going to build a lot of crossover into that, and which is unfortunate, because I think that, I think there is the whole North American Time Attack Association concept, Grid Life, SCCA, and Global Time Attack, isn't really about rules alignment. Although we talk about it, it's much more about just acknowledging that it's cool, no matter
Mhm.
which church you want to go to. As long as you're
Yeah.
out, as long as you're out doing car things, as long as you're out getting to the track, we'd much rather support each other than battle each other.
Yeah. It's tough though for the going back to the lizard brain people, the ones who want to be the pointy end. It's tough to have a car that's optimized for the rule set if the rules are not the same.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah. And, the only thing that we can do about that in our space is what we're doing with Club Spec,
mhm.
and to a lesser extent with some of the, the cam classes and extreme street classes, with time trials and autocross, and try to create some space there. Yeah, it's a big challenge for the space.
I'm sure.
And as much as we all talk about rising tide, raising ships and whatnot, at the end of the
Mhm.
day, um, everybody kind of has their way of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
I recently learned that the phrase, but that's the way we've always done it.
Oh, you can't drive me more crazy than saying that.
Well, it's actually worse than that, because I recently learned that that is actually just a passive way of saying this is how I like it.
There's very few things that get me more fired up than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you can do it, you can do it better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but that's okay. You'll find out just how
You're
weird.
definitely weird, but that's really not the problem.
That's true. There's no denying that. So I even tried circling to get an answer to something that you guys might be working on, and you're tough, Hayward. We're gonna have to.
Well, I've made a lot of mistakes, and through that has been a little bit of learning.
That's okay. You'd be surprised how many podcasts we record, and then we get an email the next day saying, "Hey, you know that part about?"
I have sent that email.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel it. So no,
So far, we've only had two that got fully taken down. Like
yeah,
down. Okay. Yes, sounds great.
we are in a great time of year. We got a lot going on, and I'm really excited about what we could potentially get to over the next year or so. There's a lot of positivity at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We did our lemons. We did our one lap. We did our secret stuff from SCCA, which I failed miserably at. Did I miss
It was a
anything that you?
valiant effort.
Two efforts. Who says I don't try? Did we miss anything that you needed to get to? We can help you in your
Um,
official SCCA
I
capacity.
would say that if anybody is intrigued by this idea of build one car and do all the SCCA things,
Mm-hmm.
with a little asterisk that you can actually do pretty much all of everybody's things except for probably wheel to wheel, if you want to. I
And
would
that's
really,
still
really.
TBD. I mean,
It's
maybe.
on. It could happen. It could definitely happen. I would love for somebody to take some Club Spec cars and go run a Grid Life time attack event just to see how they do.
Hmm.
But any rate, if you are interested in that concept, check out scc.com/clubspec. And how many of your listeners just never put on a helmet, never do anything, never drive? They just, you have an idea? You have a guess? Are we talking to a pretty engaged audience? Are we talking to people that
Uh,
are curious and
I think it's
interested?
pretty engaged. They're either racing, trying to get a little better, thinking about getting into racing, or looking
Yeah.
to solve insomnia.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I understand that one.
Mhm.
I check out the scca.com/fun FUN page, and that will help you find local autocrosses, track days, time trials, maybe even a hill climb in your area. And then the last plug is always for my favorite program, tracknightinamerica.com, where you can go drive street cars on a racetrack on a Tuesday afternoon. And then, yeah, there's something very cool about being able to get a half a day of work in, drive a race car for an hour, drive a street car for an hour on a racetrack, and still get out in time to go grab a little Mexican dinner on the way home, and
Mhm.
be back to work on the next day. And
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get down to AMP here next week or week after next and do one. It's just such a great quick fix for the motorsports folks who have weekend commitments and challenges, or just want to get a couple of sessions in.
Yeah, and you're not required to go to work before. It's optional.
You are not. That's fully optional. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can skip the whole thing,
But the Mexican afterwards is absolutely required.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, there will be I'm not telling you anything about the Lemons event that you'll be attending, but there will be Mexican food there.
At the event, or we need to go get it and come back?
Now listen, I know you realize
this is a BYOM event.
No. We have you covered. Our driving and racing game can be questioned, but our paddock game,
love it,
is strong.
Love it. All in.
We will cover you, sir. Do not worry.
I'm expecting that to be in queso.
If we need to, we can add that as well.
Done.
We have many ways of enjoying quality cuisine and liquid at the track.
Oh, those are three of my favorite things: quality cuisine and liquid.
Third one's up to you.
I'm looking forward to it. I really appreciate it.
It should be fun. SCCA.com.org. I never remember.
I think both of them get you there.
I think so
we were
too.
org forever, but we are calm now. Track night is on its own space. Time trials, it's on its own space, but they're all pretty easy to find.
You saw our red car, our red fit, right?
Oh yeah. With the track logos on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the one that was going to race last year. That had the tracks that we were going to. We figured we couldn't bring track maps, so we just had them on our car.
Perfect.
Didn't do it, but what was the plan? Sir, you are, let's see, what do we have? We're looking at, we're mid-May. We're talking about early August. It's pretty close. Pretty close.
Yep. And in theory, we could probably come back to the show afterwards to talk about how well it went, and I could tell you some SCCA secrets.
There are no in theories. There is a date has been made.
Done. Sign me up.
Easy. All right. Can't wait to spend some time with you. Spend some time with your son. That would be fantastic. You will be so looking forward to getting rid of us by the end of this event. It'll be fantastic.
Well, I mean, it depends. Are you going to ask me questions about SCCA politics, rules making, and tell me how we got everything wrong? Or are we just going to enjoy being at a racetrack and consuming Mexican food? Because if it's the second, I might not leave.
I can tell you there will be zero rules questions.
Love it. Let's do this thing.
There may be some either bragging or crying about how we've done in the events we've done with the SCCA. There could be some of that. I
have a very strong cry response to bragging, so it might be both.
The odds on it being bragging, not so high. Our primary goal for these first 5 events is no contact.
Heard.
So we'll be good. All right, sir. Great having you on again. You're one step closer to the host jacket. I believe you're 1 away or 2 away, something like that.
Who is the most frequent guest? Who has the highest count?
So there's a Lemons rally, which is point to point kind of thing. The host of that comes on pretty much probably 50% of the rallies that he can. So he's been on a bunch. I think the most host appearances would be Ross Bentley. He's come on every 50 episodes. So he's kind of the patron saint guest for us, since the in training part, he's probably the grand poobah of the grand poobahs as far as racing training. So we're going to try to get him for the upcoming anniversary episode to talk a little bit about Ross, which is a lot harder than getting Ross to either answer questions or ask questions. But we'll see.
All right, sir.
Thank you. You have a great night.
Thank you. Have a good evening.